everybody. It's me, Dr. K. I'm back. You're back. We're back. I'm excited. Welcome to the Whole You podcast, where clearly by now you can see culture absolutely meets wellness. So, you know what I'm going to say? Doing a quick mental health check-in. Let me know in the comments how you're doing, how you're feeling. Let me know what is going on in your life or really just in the last week. Have things been good for you? Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know. And I'll make sure that I respond. But I am certainly hoping that last week was a great week for you. It was a great week for me. So, family, you know what we're doing right now. Boom. Culture code, right? So I'm about to hop right into this week's culture code. I want to talk about something that we are not paying attention to uncovers a deeper issue that we need to walk through. So really quickly, can we take a journey down the highway known as reality television? Let's take that journey. So I am very proud to be able to say that I have been there from the beginning. And y'all don't know nothing about MTV. And you know nothing about a show called The Real World. It literally is the first reality television show in our culture. I remember The Real World like it was yesterday. I remember the very first episode. We really did not understand what we were stepping into. It was a great cast, all of them brought into the same house. And it was all types of stuff popping off in that house on a regular basis. And so that was when we got introduced to the phenomena of having people gathered, of having video cameras recording them on a regular basis. So we got to see the rawness, right, of who people are, how they act, not just when things are good, but how they conduct themselves when things are not going good, right? And then there were variations of reality TV over a period of time, but then we hit this pocket where it was just all of these reality shows that started popping up. Like I want to say like in the 2000s. And these were reality TV shows that were casted with celebrities or people that were well known. They weren't necessarily gathering in a house like that. I even think about like Flavor of Love. Like back in the day, Flavor Flav, it was just like, it was wild stuff happening. But again, all of these people are like gathered in one house. But then we see reality TV shows that are based on well-known individuals in culture, and they're following their lives. And also what we saw is some of those things that were supposed to be reality being scripted in some ways, setting up for scenarios of drama, right? But you had the Real Housewives franchise that really took reality TV to the next level, right? I believe that, of course, the best one was the Real Housewives of Atlanta, right? But between Nene and Phaedra and Kenya Child and Marlo, it was just, and Nene alone. You could have put whoever you wanted to put around Nene, and Nene was going to make sure that you got exactly what you needed for that hour that you were tuned in. And so then we had Basketball Wives, right? There's so many different reality shows, which I do want to say that when the Real Housewives of fill in the blank, Basketball Wives, when there were women on the show that weren't wives, I was just like, where are we? What are we doing? Right? We need to change the name of this show. Why nobody ever said anything about that? But family, what's wild is that you see these scenarios where people are going at each other. I'm thinking about the Love and Hip Hop franchise, which was really big, right? And so you have all these scenarios where people's emotions are elevated. And they're just hurling insults, just literally that are cutting way deeper than a knife. I mean, these people are like, I call it karate chopping people verbally left and right. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about in today's culture code is this concept of what happens when we don't use our words. What happens when we don't use our words? I want to say is that our words turn into almost like missiles. They can turn into weapons. Yeah. And what happens is that when we don't allow ourselves to take the time to acknowledge and to properly articulate what we're really feeling, it will come out like a sledgehammer and will testify to what we're not feeling. Fam, I'm going to give you an example. If I'm dating somebody and I start saying to them in the heat of an argument, you don't care about me. You don't ever make any time for me. You don't call me. It's just all of this. You don't do this. You don't do that. Yelling and screaming. And you're saying all of these things about what the person is not doing. When in actuality, let me tell you what you mean. I really, really like you. I borderline love you. I miss you. I love when you send me text messages. I'm so happy when we get a chance to just hang out, go to the movies, but because you chose for those days that you didn't hear from the person to not say to them, like, I love when we're able to talk, like, I miss you because we didn't talk that much this week. Instead of you having the emotional capacity and maturity to say that, you stew and you wait and you stew. And that time frame between you either choosing not to articulate how you feel or not having the language to articulate how you feel, or watch this, not allowing yourself to be vulnerable enough to share how you actually feel, wondering if the other person feels the same, wondering if the other person will feel overwhelmed by the truth of how you feel, wondering if the person might reject you if you expose, right, how you feel. You choose not to say anything, and that conscious decision will literally in the future rip away from you your ability to decide and then start speaking for you in violent ways, which is absolutely not what you mean to say. We have to watch the way that we are using our words. But I think in order for us to be able to watch the way we're using our words, we have to watch our words. But this is the key. When I say watch your words, I'm not talking about watching your verbal words. I'm talking about watching the words that are coming into your mind, watching the words that are coming into your thoughts, watching the words that are coming up in your heart, and being able to examine where those words are taking you. Because if you watch your words before they have sound, you will ensure that once they have sound, they make a joyful sound. That was good. I like that. I think that that is the key regarding making sure that you are not misrepresenting how you feel. You're not misrepresenting how you feel. In the heat of anger, we can begin to say, express, and espouse things that are not the true essence of how we're feeling. And so I want to encourage you in today's culture code to not be like the women, the men that we see on our televisions, that you're not going to have vulnerable words become wicked words. That you want to make sure that your words are not daggers, when in actuality, what is in your heart is just simply a desire to love and to be loved. And so I want to encourage you today to slow down. Here we go again, right? If you've been traveling with us, we talked in previous episodes about what happens to us emotionally and mentally when we're moving too fast, right? I want you to begin to slow down and think to yourself, watch this. Why am I so angry? Why? Why am I feeling so upset right now that it has literally brought me to tears? Why do I feel like I literally want to attack this person? What I want to express to you in this episode is that you are not angry. There are other feelings underneath anger. Anger, being angry, that is a topical feeling. It is a first level feeling. But if you allow yourself the time and the space and the courage to begin to explore what is underneath that anger, you will find that underneath that anger is, I'm really afraid. I'm really unsure. I'm really exhausted, depleted. I really feel unseen. Family, there are so many things that we feel that we don't watch for, therefore we don't give language to. And I want to encourage you in this episode to use your words. And a part of using your words is first watching over your words. Again, so that you are not communicating to people that you really actually love something very different from what's really inside your heart. Find out what you're feeling so that what you express is directly connected to what you're really feeling. So, can we try to do that? Let's try it over the next 7 days from whenever you see this pod, that I'm going to watch my words, examine my words before I use my words, so that my words do not become wicked words. Okay? All right. I hope that was helpful for somebody today. So, you know what time it is, family. We're going into our segment that's called Ask Dr. K, right? So here's the question that the person wants to ask, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to answer it. Okay. The question says, how can I better distinguish between coping mechanisms and true healing in our daily lives? Lord, y'all don't give me no easy where are the easy 1, 2, 3 green eggs and ham, Sam I am questions? All right. How can I better distinguish between coping mechanisms and true healing in our daily lives? When you are truly healed from something, you have the ability to remember without recalling. Okay? I am aware of what happened. I remember what happened, but I can't recall. Recall from the perspective of calling back, recalling the emotions that were attached to it at the time. And what happens is that you also know that you are really truly healing when you have actually extracted out of that trauma a sword, not a weapon. Now, a sword can be a weapon, but a weapon can't be a sword. That's so good. From the perspective of using a sword to be able to defend and to protect and to ward off things that could be coming to you or to others that don't mean you well. When I think about a sword, I think about something that is very heavy. I don't know if you all have ever had the opportunity to actually hold a sword in your hand, a real life sword. They are so heavy. They're not like a regular weapon, like a knife, right? Or a gun. And what is wild is that sometimes you will actually see if people go to hold a sword, which is usually very long, they will hold it with two hands. That's not just because of its length, but because of its weight. And so if it is a lot of weight to carry it with two hands, imagine someone who has the ability to wield a sword with just one. That means that that individual knows how to handle weight, knows how to utilize weight in such a way where there's a precision there. Does that make sense? And so what happens, family, is that you want to move, and this is so in step with what we just talked about during the culture code, is that you don't want to move in this loose, like throwing weapons because you yourself have not healed. I am in pain, and so I'm going to utilize my words so that you can join me in this place of pain. No, I have sat in my pain. Previous episodes, I've excavated my pain. I have watched over the words that are coming up in my soul in regards to my pain. And I have gone through the pain. Yes. So now I have extracted strength, resolve, fortitude, and I feel like shifting into another vein. I now have the ability to confront what used to control me because I conquered it. And because I've danced with it, I understand how it moves. And when I see it in other people and they're struggling with it, I can give language to that now so that not only can I be healed, not only can I be free, but I can actually be used as a conduit to help other people to be free as well. It is the woman that was in a domestic violence situation, and now they work at a domestic violence clinic. Yeah. It's the individual that was struggling with alcohol, and now they've gotten victory in that situation, and they sponsor so many other people in AA. You remember what it was like. I remember being on the floor. I remember blacking out and then coming to myself and being like, I just missed a gap of time. I remember my children calling my name, but me being so inebriated that I couldn't respond. But what I don't remember anymore is the pain of my father, which caused me to start drinking because I was actually just trying to numb the pain. I went through a season of sobriety from the perspective of sitting with all that I missed and my mistreatment from my father. And instead of drinking it away, I stared it down. And now I'm not coping, I'm living. The alcohol is the coping. The weed is the coping. The sex is the coping. I just heard this and I'm going to have the courage to say it. The obsessive, I'm an introvert, is the coping. It is you, that just hit somebody. It is you saying, because I don't want to feel this pain again, I will not engage relationally. You're not an introvert. You've been let down in previous relationships. You're not an introvert. You're not. But you think that being an introvert is what's going to protect you from having to go through another season of that season when you found out that someone that you trusted betrayed that trust. I want to say to you on the Whole You Pod, I want you to find a way to trust again. Because I don't want you to go through the rest of your life out of relationship. God brings us gifts through relationships. God brings us joy through relationships. God brings us resource through relationships. God brings us laughter through relationships. I don't want you to cut off your future trying to cut off your past. Let me say that one more time. I don't want you to cut off your future trying to cut off your past. I want you to heal through what you have experienced in the past, as opposed to not participating in your future to ensure that your future does not become your past. Yeah.
When you were talking about
So good.
remembering is not recalling,
Yeah.
how would someone, what are the steps that they would need to take to stop recalling? Because like if I enter into spaces with this person and it hits me before I can even do anything,
Yeah,
like
the
how do they, the
triggers.
triggers?
Yeah. So what happens, and that's a great question. I'm glad that you asked it. How you respond when you revisit will give you a signal as to where you are on your healing journey. When you go back to that town, when you pass by that restaurant, when that person's name comes up in the comment section of the post that you see, the algorithm is set up in such a way where when we're looking at something on the Shade Rooms page and there is 5 gazillion other millions of people that are also looking, you know that you see all the people that you know that liked it. Algorithm. When that person's name comes up, that could be a trigger for you. How that registers in your soul is literally the metric of where you are in your healing process. And as that reminder is no longer triggering to you, you've walked into the fullness of healing. While it is still doing something to you, what I want you to do is stop to investigate what that doing to you is saying to you. What it is doing is giving you an invitation. Here we go to enter into the next round. Healing happens by layer or by rounds, if you will. And because the trauma may have been so deep, one round may not take care of the depth of what you experience. And what I want to caution everyone watching is to not be so zealous to be whole that you ignore that you're healing. Let me say that one more time. I don't want you to be so zealous and so desperate to be whole that you don't celebrate the fact that you're healing, because the reality is that that is not a pursuit of wholeness. That is a desperate attempt to get out of the pain. And we're not getting out of pain, we're getting into wellness. Even the way you perceive and understand and articulate healing impacts how you do it. And so I'm going to be doing a lot of language reframing for us as we're together on the Whole You Pod, because I think that it is valuable, because language, we know, impacts culture. And on this pod, we say it's the podcast where wellness meets culture. And what I'm going to say for the first time ever in all the episodes we've done thus far, you are a culture. Your soul is a culture. Your mind is a culture. Your heart is a culture. And this podcast has been created for culture to meet wellness. Okay? So I hope that that was helpful for somebody. I'm going to have Danielle read our situation room, and let's see if we can help get this situation straight.
All right. Dr. K, I've got a situation. My best friend and I have been inseparable for years, but now we're at each other's throats over every little thing. They've become increasingly critical and passive aggressive, and it's driving me up the wall. Just last month, they publicly criticized me at a party, saying my recent work achievements were just a little certificate and that I'm all talk, no substance. I tried to brush it off, but it stung, and I'm starting to question if our friendship can ever be repaired. How do I handle this conflict without losing someone who's been like family?
Yep. You need to just have a conversation. This is quick and easy. You need to have a conversation. I am sorry that they did that. I know that that was hurtful. It's also can be surprising when someone that you've been friends with kind of like takes a hard left, if you will. Well, I said a hard left and pointed like that. So I do want to, it would have been that way. So they take a hard left, right? And it's like, and I think all of us have had that moment of, whoa, like you literally, I think everyone has possibly had that with a friend. And you know, you've had it when this phrase comes to you. Where did that come from? And what I want to encourage you to do is to find out where it came from, because that exploration will be the determiner of what happens regarding this friendship from here. I don't want you to make that choice if you all have been friends for such a long time without knowing where that came from. Loaded. Yeah.
I think it's interesting that they started their situation with we're at each other's throats over every little thing, but then the next
Right.
sentence says they've become critical.
Yeah. Okay. Good catch. I also want to say Danielle is like has a degree in psychology, so technically she could be hosting this podcast. And you know what I'm thinking about right now? I'm so glad you caught that. Is people who started and then hide their hand. So frustrated. So yikes. Ouch. And oop, it's all that is so. Are you gonna really act like you don't? So it's just me. So I such a good catch. So you know what? Because of Danielle, you know what we gonna ask? Where is this coming from? Where where is this? Let us come, let us gather together. Come, let us reason together. And something's going on. But what's so interesting is that that's the purpose of having a therapist. That's the purpose of having a friend that's a tad more sane than you, is for someone to be able to say, hold on, hold on, hold on. And I know that Danielle is that type of person, probably for her friends, is like, because Danielle hears the whole story. So you got to watch Talking Around Danielle, because she's hearing the entire thing. And you want that in somebody that is in your camp. Because what happens is that when we try to discover and explore the story without the whole story, then even if we drill down beautifully, there is still another piece that is touching what's going on. And I love that you caught that, because the reality is that that's happening in all of our lives on a regular basis. And we can't get to wholeness because we only healed a portion of it. Y'all, so good. But the portion that we skip over is our part. And even in this scenario, you're focusing in on what is the loudest cry. The one that is most boisterous, the one that is most disrespectful, or watch this, family, the that is in the public. So good, you guys. So we can be at it in private as long as nobody knows. Right? Things could have been brewing in the relationship for months, but now that something spills out where other people can see it, now it becomes an it. Fam, listen, I'm going to take this opportunity as we are about to close this episode to say to you that what it looks like behind closed doors, it should be what you want it to look like out in the open. That is for some and the body. I don't know. Oh, that in and of itself is also a good phrase. This is for some and the body. I need you to put a TM. Brandon's going to put a TM right here while I get my trademark paperwork done. I want to verbally, what's a verbal? This is a clap trademark. This called trademarked. This is for the some and the body. Somebody, do not settle for relationships being healthy outwardly, healthy in public. I don't know who this is for, but for somebody watching, this is confirmation. Whether it's business relationship, business partnership, whether it's a platonic friendship, whether it's a romantic relationship, I don't care what the connection is. Do not allow it to be tumultuous behind the scenes and some type of fairy tale on the scene. No, no, no. What we're going to have is oneness, equality. Stuff is going to add up. I literally see, like, like a beautiful mind is like all the all this stuff it all has to add up, because I'm I can't live two lives. I cannot live two lives trying to cover up lies. Brent, and I know I'm talking. If Brandon says that I'm talking good, then I know that I'm talking good. This episode is for somebody. I need you to have the courage to live a life of truth. And here we go. And know that you are worthy. You're worthy of it. You're worthy of it. And so let's make sure that we use our words. We watch our words. Yeah. And let's make sure that our public words match up to our private words. If I were you, I would watch this podcast regularly. If I were you, I would like. If I were you, I would share. If I were you, I would comment. If I were you, I would subscribe. If I listen, I feel there's other great podcasts. I watch them. I just think this one is doing all right. Y'all let me know in the comments whether so far we're doing all right. I hope that this has been helpful. I'm excited about you being here. I don't take for granted at all you taking time out of your life, because your time is your life, to log in and to listen to what it is that I have to share, my perspective from my years of wisdom. I'm very grateful that you are here. Last thing, listen, send me in your questions. Send me in your situations. As you can see, we're going to get to every single one of them over time. And remember, you need to submit yours, because yours could be somebody else's. And so it's not just you having the courage for yourself, it's that courage and how it's going to bless somebody else. And as you can see, we will not expose who you are, your name, your city, any of those things. And so there's safety here at the Whole You Pod. And so I can't wait until the next episode. I'll see you guys soon.